Here's Paul and Young Ron.
I believe in the Second Amendment. I think that if somebody is responsible, they should be able to own a gun and defend themselves responsibly. However, I don't think I should be able to own one. I firmly believe that if you're qualified, God bless you, get a gun. I am not mentally able to own a gun. And I know this because at least 5 times a day I think, I wish I had a gun right now.
Jim Norton. We are so psyched to have him here. I'm supposed to say Emmy Award-nominated TV star. Well, the show that he's on, Louis, is Emmy, and he didn't even know it.
You know, I knew Louis was nominated. Jim. Thank you, buddy. I always forget. Like, you guys were, I was listening as you were talking about it coming in, and then you said, oh, yeah, he was on Louis. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, I really I'm listening to this totally detached, and I'm like, I forget that I've been on that show many times.
You do so much you can't remember.
No, I just have such shame. I try to ignore everything I've ever been involved with.
Is that what it is? You may feel that way at 10 o'clock this morning.
Feel that way now.
Yeah, by the way, 8:06. Go ahead.
See, I'm sorry, but that dumb song is going to be in my head all day. That LeBron is gone song is going to bother me all day.
Well, he's not gone, by the way. At least not yet, anyhow.
Oh.
We're sitting on the edge of our... It's so annoying to us here because he's been stringing us and Cleveland, everybody along, and now it's to the point where, like, if he stays, like, why did you do that to Cleveland? And if he leaves, why did you do that to us, you know?
Well, do you want him to stay, or would you kind of rather see him go and then, like, maybe have an injury? Like just a leg injury or something that sidelines him for 9 months.
If he does go, we'd like him to be injured. Yes, that's like when Ron said he wanted to have a girl, but he said if he couldn't have a girl, he wanted his kid to be gay. It was an interesting side note.
It was just a joke, actually, Jim.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my sons are heterosexual.
All right, cool.
We think.
My father wishes he could say the same.
Jim Norton's playing the Palm Beach Improv tonight and tomorrow night, and our friends that listening to Real Radio in the Palm Beaches are lining up already. Showtimes, you got an 8 and 10:30 tonight, and you got a 7 and 9:45, and you get your tickets right on our website, paulandyoungron.iheart.com, or call the Improv, get a good seat because it'll sell out immediately. 561-833-1812 is the phone number there. Your Netflix special, American Degenerate, friggin' genius.
Oh, thanks, man. I was actually really happy with that one. And typically after I shoot something, I watch it and I watch it through the edit and then I just hate it. But this one I was actually really, really happy with, so thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Well, didn't you say you don't watch, like when you're on Louis, you don't go back and watch the episodes?
No, I've caught a couple of scenes, like the poker scenes and stuff like that, but I will never go back. I've never seen the full episode. I just get too embarrassed looking at myself.
Really?
Like, yeah, if I'm editing something, I'm like, I'll go through the edit because it's part of doing something. It's still part of the same job. But once it's finished, I can't watch it. Only because I get very embarrassed watching myself.
What about that funny crap you used to do on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno? Did you ever watch any of those segments?
No? I know I was on The Tonight Show because people told me they saw it. But those cameras could have been off for all I knew. I never went back and watched any of that stuff.
It was very funny.
Thank you very much.
Do you not have an ego? Because if it was me, I'd be like, hey, what are you guys watching tonight? How about me? I would have it on, like, when you walk in my house, it would be on a loop.
No, dude, I have a tremendous ego, but mine's just working the other way with that one, where I'm just like, I'm so arrogant, I'm over analyzing it. Like, yeah, no, it's tremendous ego on my side too, but I just get too freaked out. I can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want
everybody wants to know about the radio thing and what
Sure.
the hell, and Opie and Anthony tweeted, and then he got fired for tweeting, which is kind of weird.
Yep.
Because he didn't say anything egregious on the actual radio. He was fired for something that was tweeted. I know you work for Sirius, and so is the show going to continue on satellite with you and Anthony?
No, me and Opie.
I mean, with you and Opie?
Yeah, that would be so weird if me and Anthony continued and they made Opie leave. What are you guys doing? They're like, I don't know. We mixed up the paperwork. But Opie and I are going back to school. Opie and I go back Monday morning, and it's a lousy situation. I mean, you guys are partners. You know how it is. It's like it's not Anthony's choice or Opie's choice or my choice. We all hate it.
Right.
I mean, these are the guys I love working with, and now I have to go back, and we have to work together, and people are like mad at us for going back to work.
Don't you love the internet trolls and the scumbags? They're like, if you really cared about your friend, you'd quit. Like, shut up.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I can't just quit. No. First of all, I have bills to pay. And I talked to Anthony. Right. He doesn't want me to. He's like, dude, take as much money as you can get. Like, he's not stupid. He's a grown-up. He knows exactly. He's in if the roles were reversed, Anthony would fight for me or he'd fight for Ope, and he would continue to work. You have to continue to work. We have a contract that's up at the end in early October, and then we'll see from there. And I've said this ever since I've been talking about it, that I'm amazed we made it 10 years. I can't believe that as self-destructive as the show can be and as many things that we've done. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's almost like it was like if Sid and Nancy had dated for 10 years. Like that type of the constant turmoil, the constant almost getting fired.
When you do a show like that and it's satellites, it's like, I guess I hate the expression shock radio, but I guess it has to be used. Do you have to always push the envelope to do the next ridiculous thing? Is that part of the deal there?
No, because the stuff that gets you in trouble isn't necessarily. I mean, you know, like the one people in California got it was the water drinking that got them. It's always the thing you don't see coming. So for us, none of it was shocking, the stuff we talked about, because the fact that we weren't doing naked girls on the drums anymore, or any of that stuff, or firing a bottle rocket where those guys had fired a bottle rocket on a woman from. I mean, the stuff that they had done over the years, just talking was mild. Like, we didn't think we were doing anything shocking whatsoever on the air. It was just, just kind of saying whatever we wanted to say, and Sirius didn't mess with our content.
Look what we're learning now, though. Friggin' social media is getting people fired, man. Adam Richman, the guy from Man vs. Food, right. Somebody's calling him a fatty and stuff, and he got a little defensive on Twitter, and he went off on the person, and he could be losing his job on a network or a Travel Channel show.
Well, he actually, didn't he say, like, thin-spiration? Like, not even bashing fat people, just saying, like, because he was heavy at one point, and then the fat lady said, like, she's like, thin, like, of course she's nitpicking the fact he said thin-spiration is like an anorexic term or whatever it was.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it was something like that, like he was using a trigger word. They
got a little upset when he said, why don't you go ahead and draw a warm bath and slit your wrists?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great advice, but they didn't really agree.
That didn't go over.
No, yeah, but the fact of the matter is, it's, and you said it earlier, it's not being broadcast.
Right.
To me, that's a scary thing. You can't be yourself. Hey. And it even gets back to this Donald Sterling in a way. You can't be yourself and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the guy in the privacy of his own home, that's scary. That's scarier than Adam and Anthony and every other one, because that's the privacy of your own home. You know, you just all he was trying to do is get Magic Johnson laid. And I think that's the important part. Everybody's blowing past that. I think Donald Sterling was doing a good thing. But the fact that his private conversation could be recorded by this alleged woman with her giant visor and then cost him a $1 billion team and the guy seems like a scumbag. But you're allowed to be a scumbag. Yeah. You know, they should have went and got him for all the housing stuff, not when he says naughty things at home to his girlfriend. So that's the era we're living in.
By the way, there's a big giant man sitting out in the control room, and I'm like, who the hell is that dude?
Oh, Kenny.
Bodyguard?
No, he takes care of all the details and the road managing, and he's actually a very efficient man. And like, he does do, like, if somebody bothers you, he will be helpful in removing them. But that's
a giant, large man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, because we caught flack when what's his name, Aries Spears came in the studio and acted like a crazy person. What people don't know is he had like a 6'8" bodyguard dude. He looked like the guy from the Green Mile.
Oh,
remember that
right.
black dude from the? Yeah,
Michael Dunklin.
Michael Clark Duncan. He's no longer with us.
Yeah.
But so Aries is in there screaming and yelling in our face, but he's got this 8-foot dude sitting next to him.
Couple of them.
I'm not going to fight that guy. I'm not going to fight anybody, by the way. But so now I get it. If anyone attacks Jim Norton, you're dealing with the monster in the back of the room.
No, but if you guys yell and scream at me, he would enjoy it. He would never defend me on a radio argument. It's only if somebody comes up on the merchandise line at the end and tries to bite my face.
You do have problems sometimes with crowd control?
No, because they see him.
Oh.
And I very rarely, it's almost like you'll go through most of your career and never have an issue. Never. But it's just the one person that you'll have an issue with. Mm. You know, like, look at how famous Lennon was and how many fans he had and people. And there was one guy that hated
one idiot.
One guy. I mean, out of all the millions and millions and millions that know who he was. Yeah. That's all it takes is one guy. And you ever see that photo of Lennon signing the record with Chapman standing behind him? I don't know why I'm saying that like it's breaking news. It's 1980. But it was really, I had never seen that photo before. Just standing there lurking.
Oh, you hadn't? 6 hours later, he killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it reminded me of myself. Like, that's how I look when I'm getting something signed. Like, I really am a ghoul. No wonder celebrities hate me. I just make people uncomfortable.
Everybody loves you, Jim.
You guys love me because we're friends, but the celebrities don't love me.
No kidding.
We love you because you come in here and you kill 15 minutes on our show. We don't have to do anything. You just sit there and listen to Jim Norton.
Dude, there's nothing better on the radio than when someone just comes in and talks a lot and you can just go like, all right, we can breathe for a couple of minutes.
Thank the good Lord. Jim's playing at Palm Beach Improv tonight and tomorrow night. Tickets at paulandyoungrun.iheart.com. I saved this one for you. I mentioned it earlier. Do you hear about the guy that tore his anus? Because I'm going to be completely honest. The World Cup, I watch it and it's like 0-0, and I'm just think, why did I watch it? And but when a guy tears his anus, to me, this is made for Jim Norton.
Absolutely, he suffered the same injury in a soccer game that I've suffered on dates. You know how difficult that is. And then the woman's apologizing, taking off that special belt. I'm like, that's all right. You didn't know. I told you to run at me. That was my fault. Well, how did he do that?
This is what we're speculating on this morning. He was playing soccer, football, and tore his anus.
Football. Please don't ever do that again and call it football. You apologize right now.
I hear people calling it football.
Yeah, but that's
just, they do.
It's not football.
They're not saying how it happened. They're just saying it was torn. Wow. The anus was. Now, is that like when your wife, they get the, what do you call the, Ron, you told me you paid the doctor an extra $100 to tighten her up a little bit.
A episiotomy, episiotomy surgery. Yeah, that's what he probably is undergoing right now, in fact.
What is that?
To tighten up his anus.
Wow, they can do that?
They do that after women give birth, but not to the anus, but still.
Right.
That's how they. And Paul was joking that I had the doctor give her a couple extra stitches.
Oh yeah.
Oh, your wife's back. Your wife's back in town, is she?
Almost.
Hey, Doc, do me a favor. Sweeten the pie up a little bit for me. Here's an extra $100.
Yeah.
Tighten it up. That's terrible.
While you're in there, squirt a little lemon on it, because that tends to shrink things. Yeah, no, I don't know how the guy injured himself. I hadn't heard. I just heard the guy who broke his back. Like I'm like everyone. Tim Howard's from my hometown, so I'm kind of like rooting for the U.S. And then as soon as they got knocked out, I forgot that soccer ever existed.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
That's how I was.
I can't stand it.
In Miami, though, you got like 8 million Brazilians going crazy, and now they're jumping off bridges. And then you got the Venezuelans and the Costa Rica. You got everybody, and the Mexicans. Because everybody, this is a different type of a town.
Right.
But I'm with you. The minute that U.S. was out, I'm like, okay, when does football season start? Where's LeBron? All that crap. And by the way, when is LeBron going to make the announcement, Ron? Do you know?
They say, and again, I assume it's speculation, but they say he's going to make the announcement of where he's going before he goes to Brazil for the World Cup final on, the final Sunday, but I assume he'd be leaving tomorrow probably for Brazil.
Who's playing in the final?
It's Germany and Argentina.
Oh, okay. I haven't followed it since. I know didn't the Brazilian guy break his back? It's like, how can they feel bad about losing? It's like you had two guys out. There's a yellow card, a broken back. That's all I know about the World Cup.
Sometimes it's hard to follow unless you really know what you're watching.
Right. There's a tie.
They actually have a game. They have a game for third. The tie makes me crazy. How about a tie that's 0-0?
Right.
That to me is like they played a game, but the score was exactly the same as Ron pointed out yesterday before the game. It's the stupidest thing ever. But you'll piss off soccer fans. You don't know. You don't know the sport. You don't follow. You don't know because it's 0-0. Well, thank you there, Javier.
When Germany beat Uruguay or something in the in their semifinal, that was a very exciting game. Oh no, it was Germany and Brazil. And then the very next semifinal was as boring as it gets. So that just goes to show you something about the sport.
Not nearly as boring as talking about it.
Especially when we don't know what we're talking about. We've done Opie and Anthony. We were trying to talk about soccer, and there's nothing worse than guys who aren't soccer fans trying to discuss it. We just run out of steam after God, that one kick. Yeah, but it missed. All right, back to you. We really have no idea what we're saying.
It's 8:19. Jim, we do a bit here called You Can't Win, where it's pretty cool. We have 3 questions. If they answer 3 questions, they win a 2-year lease on a Ford Escape from Pompano Ford. They win an oceanfront home in Bimini at Resorts World Bimini for 3 nights. They get a year membership to the Carefree Boat Club, and then we throw them a beautiful Sea-Doo Spark from Riva Motorsports just for answering 3 questions. We've had this game going for almost 6 months. We're stuck on the 3rd question. Whoever comes through gets the 3rd question does win. So, and you'll learn we have a ridiculous, goofy radio jingle for every segment.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win.
And just for playing, you're the lucky recipient of tickets to Michael McDonald and Toto. August 20th at the Hard Rock Live. Tickets available for that show at myhrl.com. We're all up. We don't know who it's going to be, who's going to open that show, but we're all on the edge of our seat. Toto or Michael McDonald?
I think it's going to be a good show. I think it's
Jim's
a
a
good
metal.
fit.
Jim's a metalhead, and he looks at this and he mocks that show.
No, I don't. Toto, Mike, and McDonald. It's a co-headline bill, as we all know.
I would think.
Absolutely. They have probably an opening act,
Hey.
and then they flip-flop the headline duties.
How about this one? Tickets go on sale today for Judas Priest at the Hard Rock Live.
That's great.
I didn't even know they were still running around. Rob Halford's still with the band?
Yeah. All of them are there, except I think KK is not playing guitar anymore. I believe the whole band are still intact.
That show, October 30th, and then Steve Martin and Martin Short are doing the September 6th comedy show at the Hard Rock Live. Don't you love that? I know it's weird. Bring on Chevy Chase. You get the Three Amigos.
Right.
And then Chris Tucker is July 12th. Those tickets at myhrl.com. Steve Martin and Martin Short. So is Steve Martin's going back to stand-up? Because if you read his book, he gave up stand-up when he was filling theaters with 70,000 people every single. He said, what more can I do? And that's when he decided to write movies and star in movies. So if he's going back to doing stand-up, that's going to be something to see.
Yeah, I wonder if he just gets bored after a while. It's like that was like, if you're a comic, you're a comic. That's kind of who you are. Maybe he just got bored of doing films that make $100 million. He's like, let me just go back to having drunks yell at me. There's something to be said for that. It's like leaving a great marriage.
This is what I'm waiting for with Eddie Murphy, who, for me, I thought he was one of the geniuses of stand-up, but he just kind of, like you said, $100 million movie, $20 bar tab. Where do you go?
Right, what do you do? I don't know why. People have been waiting for Eddie Murphy to come back to stand-up since, like, maybe 1990 or something, and I don't think he's coming back.
At all.
No, well, he's got no need to. He's such a good actor, and his films do well. Yeah. Eddie Murphy quietly makes, a tremendous amount of money. People, like, when they mention box office draws, forget Eddie Murphy still makes a lot of cash, so why would he?
We heard that when he's shooting in New York or any city that's got a port, he has his 150-foot yacht sailed there by his crew, and that's where he stays. That's a good Yeah, he lives on his yacht.
He probably likes the privacy. I mean, I've never met Eddie.
Yeah.
He's like one of the few guys I'd like to meet that I haven't met. But I imagine, if you're going to do anything, you want to do it in private because everybody watches. He had a couple of issues, driving around New York and giving rides to people. Believe me, I've had those issues.
Transgenders and such. You have.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't drop people off? It's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. You need a ride?
Take a ride with me.
Hop in.
Get an Adam's apple. Come on.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get It's John in Miami who's going to do the You Can't Win thing. This could be his big day. Johnny, you there?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
All right, pal. We're psyched to have Jim Morton, of course, of the Morton Steakhouse chain. Jim Norton here. Answer these three, buddy, and win all those killer prizes. You ready?
Got it.
Number one, who sunk twice at the end?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Please say the name properly. Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio, yes. All right, number two, who liked them small and thin?
Ancient Greeks.
Yes, the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks liked their penises small and thin. Back in the old days, they believed that was later on when everybody was fat. Oh, that's a sign of wealth and power. Back in the old days, the ancient Greeks liked their penises small and thin.
Wow.
And here's the question that we're stuck on. You'd have to eat at least 10 plates stacked with just meat for this to occur. What is it?
Salmonella.
Salmonella.
Take it home, loser. Wrong again.
Try again on Monday. Salmonella you get from, eating dirty chicken, no?
And you can get that pretty quickly. You don't need to eat 10 plates of meat to get salmonella.
Right, or an egg.
I got a buddy.
Or an egg.
One egg. I got a buddy named Salmonella. It's the worst name. It's Italian guy. Hey, Sally, Salmonella, what are you doing?
That's a great. You should hang out with my friend AIDS.
Now we're laughing at AIDS jokes. We got a break, but Jim Norton's here, and he's playing the Palm Beach Improv. Tickets at paulandyoungron.iheart.com or 561-833-1812. We'll be back in a minute on the Paul and Young Ron.
Paul and Young Ron Show. This is the Paul and Young Ron Show with Paul Castronovo and Young Ron Brewer.
My one friend told me, dude, if a bear attacks you, what you got to do is make a lot of noise and run directly at him. That what I'm supposed to do? Use reverse psychology on an animal that eats and goes to the bathroom at the same time? And that's the last place in life you want to realize that once again, your idiot friend had no idea what he was talking about. Because your friends are always morons, and that's the last place you want to realize. Like if a bear is charging at you, and then you're like, ah! But now the bear is still coming, only he's much closer, because like a if you ran in the wrong direction, so now he's even going to be less winded and can kill you more effectively.
Jim Norton, who is playing the Palm Beach Improv this weekend, and you can get tickets right now. He's at 8 o'clock show tonight, 10:30 as well, and then Saturday 7 and 9:45. Something tells me that last show on a Saturday night could be quite sick. Get your tickets now at 561-833-1812 or at paulandyoungron.iheart.com. One of the funniest guys out there. His Netflix series, stand-up American Degenerate, is very, very funny. 2-time New York best-selling author. He's on Chelsea lately. He's on Louis. He's a regular on Louis. The guy's unbelievable, man.
Thank you, buddy.
But yet you don't watch yourself. Do you ever listen to yourself?
No, as that clip was playing, by the way, that bear clip, I forgot I lifted my headphones in utter humiliation. What? That was from one of the CDs. I just don't even know which one. I have no idea where they pulled that from or anything. I don't listen. Once it's done, it's done. I try not to ever do the jokes again. And I try to never think of them again.
Oh, man. See, we've made a living redoing jokes. Some of yours, in fact.
Yeah, please have all of them and enjoy them, because I'm tired of them. I get after a year, I'm completely bored, and I want to shoot it or put it on DVD or CD, and then I'm done with it. Like,
okay.
That's how I felt about Ron after year 20.
He just finished with him, right?
You just want to put him out and shoot him. This intimidating gentleman in the $800 suit is our general manager and president of Clear Channel Miami, Lonnie Anger.
How you doing, Jim?
Hello, sir.
He's really scary. No, he's a good guy, but he was listening, to you. This story about we just talked. You're on the Opie and Anthony show, which is a Sirius satellite show, and one of your guys, I guess the lead dude or one of the lead dudes, Anthony, was canned for something that didn't happen actually on the radio.
Right.
Lonnie, you got some thoughts about that?
I've had many conversations about this. Obviously, people know that I'm in the business and ask me what I would have done. And here's the reality, forgetting about the fact that you guys are friends and this and that.
Right.
Once, doesn't matter whether it's on the air, on social media, whatever it is, once you enter into a race issue, it's over. It's game over, and that's it. And he has to be fired.
Really?
It's not even a question.
Now, well, what about other issues? What about homosexuality and other things that people have been fired for, gayness and
I think that is
gayness?
obviously
gayness. I don't know.
Did you say gayness?
Being gay.
The expression isn't gayness.
Yeah. Well, I'm not an expert on it like you, sir. I'm sorry.
Like Ron, a statement like that is not. I would, of course, I wouldn't fire you for that. But
thanks.
But obviously, there's a lot of ifs. The context and what it's and
see,
how
that's
it's
the
said.
scary part.
Like
If there's a million ifs, you don't have guidelines. You don't know what the hell to do.
But I will tell you that the tweets that he had sent out clearly were racist in nature. Okay, clearly were racist in nature. There's really no way around it, regardless of your friendship or personal relationship. When you go that way, there is no turning back, and I would almost say, and to answer your question, Ron, I would almost say that the obviously a homosexuality crude statement is very, very serious, and I would say absolutely fireable. But the
can you let somebody else talk? Can you let Jim talk for 1 second?
As he's talking, I'm regretting shaking his hand. But you're being honest. But he's from a management point of view, and I know you're just telling like what you're saying is what a lot of guys just actually wouldn't come on the air and say. The thing with the race issue and what bothers me is if it was meted out fairly, I would have no issue with it. None whatsoever. But if it was a black artist saying that about a white, like when's the last time a black performer was fired for tweeting something negative about white people?
Certainly happens.
I can't remember when the last time I've seen it. And usually it's white guys. What political correctness has become is white guys criticizing other white guys because they're afraid that the white guy saying something racially insensitive is a reflection on them as well. Because that's all it really. He didn't drop any N-bombs. He didn't.
Here's why I don't buy that argument. Okay, at the end of the day, we are four white guys sitting in this studio.
Yes.
Okay. It is a factor.
I'm Sicilian.
Okay,
but exactly.
It is a fact that there is still a tremendous amount of racism against the African American community. So, The bottom line is that the argument that when a black person says this about a white person and why they're not fired, it's just simply not the same.
That's so what you're saying is truthful. The rules are different, and I just wish that they would come out and say the rules are different. You're saying that black people, because they've been discriminated against, and in many cases still are, should be treated with kid gloves and treated differently, and that's paternalism. And that, to me, is more insulting than holding two grown men to the same set of language standards.
First of all, here's the one thing that you're missing here is that you didn't ask me if I would say the same thing. Should a black man be fired? If Anthony was black and he made that statement about a white person, I would probably go the same way.
But the fact that even though you're saying that, and I'm sure you're being truthful, the fact that you did preface it with saying this is why it was so bad. We're 4 white guys and African Americans have been discriminated against. If you're in 2014 and you're talking about being treated a certain way in language and us all having the same set of language standards. The FCC, 7 dirty words. A black artist can't say them. A Latin artist can't say them. You can't drop an F-bomb no matter what color you are or what the context of the discussion is. So shouldn't that
Let me ask. Okay, so you hired me to do a radio show. If I said that something racist on the radio, goodbye. But if I said something racist on a Twitter account that you thought was racist, I think there's a lawsuit there because you're not controlling. That's a personal Twitter account not owned by the company, and it's not broadcast. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say these things, but there's certainly it's a gray area. Am I wrong?
Well, here's and I am not a trained attorney, so I can't respond to to the legal question about that. But what I will tell you is that the Twitter account that you have and the followers that you have is a direct result of your celebrity on the radio.
So
I mean, so it is an extension of your of your job. I mean, it's just
now I have you have a Paul and Young Ron page, but I have a personal page. I have the Paul Castronovo page. I was Paul Castronovo long before I was Paul Castronovo on the radio.
But here's the reality, Paul. You are held to a different standard because you're a celebrity.
God, I hate
it's
you
that simple.
so much.
It's
right
that
now.
simple. I
So
mean, you are held to a different standard because you're a representative of this company. And you're a celebrity. I mean,
well, if you meet a woman because you're on the radio, should your personal Facebook page then become management's property because you met that woman who's a lot hotter than you deserve? But believe me, every girl I've ever slept with is much more attractive than I deserve because I'm on the radio. So I guess that every girl's Facebook page should then be up for management's critiquing because I met her through the radio. Like that argument falls apart. Even though I know why management makes it. It's just they don't know how to deal with Page 6 calling and saying, "Look, how do you feel about this?"
I wonder
doesn't like to be scrutinized like that.
Does the morality clause come into effect? Because we do have in our deal, there's a morality clause. So I mean, would that fall under that, Lonnie? We're talking to Lonnie Anger and comedian Jim Norton, who's here. We're talking about this case in New York where the Opie and Anthony show. Anthony was canned for something he tweeted out, and Jim Norton's part of that show. And we're talking to Lonnie, who's our boss, and wondering how he's trying to figure out how he could fire us.
No, but I mean the reality is that despite the fact I enjoy coming on the show, I love listening to the
morality.
show. I know. I'm saying
the morality.
I'm answering to you. If you were to do something like that Anthony did, it is absolutely something that
you would have no choice to be out of your hands.
No, it would be my decision, and I would follow through on that.
But the decision would be made.
The decision would be made. There's no question.
So how come with the morality stuff? And again, why is the fact that he was assaulted, and he legitimately was assaulted, and he's a licensed to carry permit holder in New York and showed tremendous restraint? Why is the morality not based in his behavior? Like he did not behave immorally. He actually walked away and Penn Jillette raised a brilliant point. He didn't strike the woman back. Like if he would have punched the woman in the face, and I'm not saying what he tweeted was nice. That's not the point. But the fact is, this wasn't just an argument in a Roy Rogers line. This was as a result of an assault. I don't know if she was a hooker, but whatever she was doing there. Why was that not taken into account? Like in the whole discussion, you're not one saying like, wow, the guy didn't punch this woman, although he probably would have had the right to because she hit him first.
First of all, what he should have done. If we're talking about what he should have done or what he shouldn't have done, what he should have done, if he felt he was being assaulted and he felt he was being threatened, he should have just called the police right then and there. It was nobody forced him to tweet that out. Nobody forced him to put that on, to put her picture on Twitter. So as I just said to Paul, he is a celebrity. He is held to a higher standard in terms of how he's supposed to act.
I don't buy that at all.
Okay, well, I will tell you that I expect the people that are employed by me here at this company.
See what we have to deal with around here?
We represent the community, we serve the community, and I expect them to serve the community at a higher level. It's that simple.
And Jim, we're a broadcast outlet, and you guys are satellite, and we're bound by the FCC's guidelines.
Sure,
you guys were not. So I think he's got a case there. I think I got a hard-ass boss.
Is your buddy going to sue? Is he going to sue the company?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I do not know. I mean, and again, I know Lonnie is just telling the truth from management's point of view. Like, he's not saying it's enraging to hear. It's literally like I'm biting my teeth. But I know that what he's saying is what every guy in management thinks or won't say. So at least he comes on the radio and talks openly about it.
You just don't agree with what he says.
No, I find it putrid. But again, I do know management has a position too. Like, you can't be so artistic, quote unquote, that you think management are all idiots. Like, they have to defend their point of view and they have to defend the company against things. I just don't like the fact that immediately he blew by the violence against Anthony. Like, in that discussion, even he did two key things which drive me crazy. Black people have suffered discrimination, and then he blew past the violence that was put on Anthony.
So what do you do if you're attacked? Yeah,
they behaved better than I would have, because I would have pulled out the pistol and shook like a little girl, and then probably had my gun taken.
Let's go to David on line 1. Good morning, buddy. What's your take on this thing?
Hello.
Hi, David.
Yeah, you're on the Paul and Young Ron show, David. Yes, sir. With Jim Norton, I might add.
Hi.
Are we going to converse? What the
hell's going on,
answer a goddamn question. I don't understand why he's not speaking.
Maybe he can't hear. David?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, go ahead and make your point. Okay. What the hell's the matter with this guy?
Hang up on him. He's listening in delay.
Well, he's trying to give me a headache, for Christ's sake.
He's not paying attention to the radio, so anyway. Wonder what he was going to say. Yeah, man. All these black people get away with everything. Thanks for calling.
I think it's more the situation of our the state of our existence these days more than.
Can I say something here? Before we get into that segment. Now, I could probably get into a lot of trouble, but I'm holding in my hand here, and you can see it here, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and I wanted to talk about the movie, but now. Bringing up the Planet of the Apes, I could get in trouble for that, couldn't I?
We were supposed to actually interview Gary Oldman. This is how self-centered I am. One of my closest friends is fired, and all I'm thinking of is, damn it, I was supposed to talk to Gary Oldman on Tuesday, but we weren't on the air.
So now you missed him.
I'm promoting this
We didn't
film.
even get an opportunity to we didn't even get Gary Oldman, okay? So don't feel, we didn't even have an opportunity to get, didn't he come out last week as a racist?
Nah, he said something stupid in a Playboy interview, and he tried to clarify it, and actors, when they clarify things that aren't written for them, don't do a good job.
That's right. He said that Mel Gibson, man, he really had it going on.
Yeah, he made a tremendous mistake.
We thought he was trying to promote the movie. You're getting well, I guess he was. That's why I was in Playboy to begin with, probably.
Yeah, but people put their foot in their mouth because everyone is so hesitant with race just to talk because they're so afraid they're going to say the wrong thing.
Right.
Because no one has those honest conversations with people, and they're like, and it's not I have a black friend, but if you have black friends who you're honest with and they're honest with, like I hung out with Patrice O'Neill for years. And Keith Robinson and these guys who are brutal on Whitey, but they're you're going back and forth with them all night. You know exactly how honest you can be with a black person, and it's completely honest.
Well, and Patrice had a special relationship with Ron here because he always felt like Ron was a completely openly white guy from the 1950s racist, and he loved him for it. And he would say, "Man, I love you because you just come out and be racist. You're not hide behind it. You're just racist." And remember Patrice? Oh, we miss him,
remember
man.
that, but I don't remember making racist remarks. I remember asking him questions that could be construed in a racist way.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we have been talking about a bunch of stuff, but I have no idea what's going on in the world. Ron?
News has never been softer.
Let's do this.
News is brought to you by Audi at Pembroke Pines. Do me a favor, go over there and buy a car, huh? Just as quick as you can.
Is that their tagline? Go over here and buy a car?
Come
That's
on
their
in.
advertising slogan?
Well, you could actually lease one if you don't want to buy the thing. But, that Audi, it's a nice car.
Well,
Audi,
why don't you
Pembroke
present
Pines.
one to Mr. Jim Norton here as a gift?
Audi, PembrokePines.com. Watch out for more spotty showers. They say the weekend looks hot with scattered showers at times. Got a near full moon out there. LeBron James flew into Miami overnight on the same flight with Dwayne Wade, if that means anything. He will supposedly announce his future plans before going to Brazil this weekend. So,
what time is his flight to Brazil today?
All I know is about the flights that are arriving, not his departures. Okay, so I don't know, but presumably it could be any time.
Private jet to Brazil. What's the price tag on that one, Jim? You think he's dropping about $40,000 on that?
A private jet to Brazil. I've never flown private, so I wouldn't know. I hear it's quite a delightful experience, but I've never flown, so I have no idea what it costs. Probably more than $40,000 to go to Brazil.
Yeah. I flew on one with some guy. He's like, "Come with us, we're going," and it's the greatest thing ever. You drive right onto the tarmac, and you pull up, and there's someone hands you a sandwich and a drink. And you like, where? Just tray table, put it down, put your seat back. Nobody cares. That's the beauty of it.
President Obama's appearance on that internet comedy show Between the Two Ferns, that Zach Galifianakis show, was actually nominated for an Emmy yesterday.
Yeah. Obama won't get the Emmy, though. I think Zach will, right?
Yeah, the show would, I guess. But that's pretty. As a matter of fact, let's take a little trip back in time. If you play clip number 23, you'll hear the interview.
Where are you planning on building a presidential library, in Hawaii or your home country of Kenya? Because, I mean, both places seem like they would be...
Zach, that's a ridiculous question.
Well, not to bring up the birth certificate thing, but you really never did really produce your real...
Where's your birth certificate? Why don't you show it to us right now?
I don't want to show anybody my birth certificate because it's embarrassing.
What's embarrassing about it?
My weight on it, it says that I was born 7 pounds, 800 ounces. You know what I would do if I were president, Mr. President? I would make same-sex divorce illegal, then see how bad they want it.
I think that's why you're not president, and that's a good thing.
You said if you had a son, you would not let him play football. What makes you think that he would want to play football? What if he was a nerd like you?
Do you think a woman like Michelle would marry a nerd? Why don't you ask her whether she thinks I'm a nerd?
Could I?
No, I'm not going to let her near you.
He reminds me of Lonnie, our boss.
He plays a good hard ass there, doesn't he?
He sure does. And he's acting,
Jim,
obviously.
He is acting. Jim, you're an actor. What do you think, man?
Thank you. No one's ever said those words before. Let me just enjoy that moment for 1 second.
Come on, man. Seriously, I've seen you on multiple shows. Weren't you on the first Louie show?
I was, on Lucky Louie. I did all the
Lucky Louie,
13 episodes. And I'm more impressed with Zach in that because the president is so used to, he's used to dealing with, Putin and all that stuff. He's used to those. The fact that Zach held it together through that and said to him, "How does it feel to be the last black president?" That was my favorite question that anybody's ever asked another person. He said that to Obama, and Obama took it.
Really, really genius.
By the way, those Emmys will be handed out August 25th in Los Angeles. Seth Meyers will MC that ceremony. So
he's a funny dude, Seth Meyers. You see his did the White House Correspondents' Dinner a couple years ago. He was brutal, man. He was really great.
It was funny. And
Jim, do you? You said you don't watch yourself on TV, but are there any of these? Are you a Game of Thrones guy? Do you watch any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'm rooting for Peter Dinklage very heavily to win. That's the one series I'm completely wrapped up in.
I am too.
So are the Emmys. They got more nominations than anybody, I think.
It's very, very well acted. I really went out on a limb. Game of Thrones was well acted. That's why they had me on these radio shows. Inside
but
Hollywood.
Peter Dinklage. If you think about it, the whole season, he didn't do anything. He just stood, aside from early in when he was at the wedding scene, but he pretty much sat in that room the entire year this season. But he was genius and riveting.
Yeah, that scene where the guy Pablo Pascal talks about his sister going in there and showing them the freak. And Dinklage is crying, just listening to this story about himself as a baby. I thought it was such a well-acted moment.
I agree. It was really touching. All right, Ron, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I've been saving this one all morning for your continued enjoyment, listeners. Here is the world's fastest talking woman reading the classic children's tale, The Three Little Pigs, in 15 seconds. It's clip 10.
What's your time the three little pigs? One little pig like to sing, the second little pig like to dance, the third little pig like to sit and think, then a big wolf going, then a big lubby, and a big chin, something what's the next one's house? Little big lubby, and a big chin, something what's the two got something to climb in the chimney, pigs at a pot of boiling water, the wolf, and they move to tomorrow, war and peace. My name is Fran Capo, and I happen to be...
That's the friggin' View. Who are you trying to kid?
She can speak 11 words per second, which means that she could do the Pledge of Allegiance in 3 seconds.
She's a comedian, Fran Capo.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't know she was actually the fastest talker. Wow.
Yeah, world's fastest.
She's on our show next Wednesday. Am I excited about that? Or am I going to have a headache? Jim Norton's here. He's at the Palm Beach Improv. And when we come back, we're going to add Bert Kreischer to the mix. So I've lost all control of the show, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back in a minute.